What's going on, guys? This is Empty Box, and this is GameStop Extreme, where today we got round 2 of the SROL F1 2000 Championship. Yes, we're league racing in GameStop Extreme. This is using an F1 2000 mod that was already out there converted into GameStop with custom physics, so I'm not sure if I can give that out or not, but anyways, we're driving the BAR. It is a League Edition mod, so all cars are exactly the same other than the sound. We're starting in 9th place. We are using soft compound tires, which once you choose them, you're locked in, as we are running Parc Fermé rules. So we can't change them in race. We are on a 2-stop strategy. I'm going to go ahead and post-commentate this video. Ahead of me is a temporary teammate, as Slade, who is my usual teammate, was unable to make this race. So let the games begin. And with a surprisingly decent first lap, things are going great, actually. Dodged a stalled car on the grid, gained a few positions anyways, kept the car clean through turn 1 here. I'm calling that a success. I do know, though, at this point in the race, I'm already out of position. Okay? These cars are not my thing. I suck in these cars. I don't particularly like the way this car drives. Honestly, if it wasn't for the league, I wouldn't have this mod even installed because I'm not a fan of it, but that's why I'm in this league, because it is a challenge, because it is something different for me to drive, and because I know I have to figure it out and really practice and work at it, which might sound strange to some of you guys, but I think others will actually understand what I'm talking about. So I know I really have to do a very good job at doing what I do, which is not wreck, simply put, because I don't have anywhere near the speed that a lot of the other guys do around me. And with that, we are up to 2nd position as 2 teammates basically run into one another. This race, this league, is running with damage enabled. However, it has been toned down to 50%, which enables both cars to continue, unfortunately for us, because that just puts pretty much 2 of the fastest guys in the league behind us coming to take their position back because, well, they're way faster than we are. But hey, I get to drive the choo-choo train. Oh yeah. In case you haven't noticed, I'm having some serious problems with the brakes. Last week, round 1 at Melbourne, halfway through the race I had some serious issues with the brakes develop. I couldn't do anything but lock the front wheels regardless of what my brake bias was, even though I wasn't having too much of an issue with locking brakes earlier on in the race. So I was really concerned about that, so I'm running a little bit further forward brake bias than what I would like, because I think I might have overheated the rear brakes in Melbourne because I was running a fairly aggressive brake bias. So I'm kind of concerned about that, so I'm running things a little bit further forward, which is less than ideal because I already have a hard enough time getting this car to turn in anyways. And more rearward brake bias definitely helps to get the car turned in. But yeah, I'm having a heck of a time with the brakes. I have nothing for anybody in the brake zones because I'm just so scared of the brakes and making sure that they actually stay on the car this time for the last half of the race. And ahead here on the left, we see one of the Arrows cars making their first pit stop, which to me indicates they're running a two-stop strategy, which means that we need to keep track of that because we were right behind them and we're running the same strategy. So we should probably, hopefully, stay somewhat near that car through our pit stop, which should be coming up here shortly. And again on the left, we see one of the minorities from further up ahead making a pit stop, which again indicates he's on a two-stop strategy. File that away for future reference, just good stuff to know. And right here is the precise moment I noticed something is wrong. As I check the display, we're 16 laps into the race. I was supposed to make my pit stop on lap 16. If you're familiar with these games on this engine, you know that when you set up your strategy ahead of time for the number of laps, it'll come up with the display, you know, to change your pit options automatically. When you get to your pit window, it didn't pop up, which tells me one thing instantly: the fuel isn't being calculated correctly, which means I have more fuel in the tank than what I think I should have at this stage of the race, which means that A, the car is heavier and therefore slower, B, now I need to figure out how much fuel I'm supposed to take at my pit stop to have the proper amount of fuel for that stint. Or C, do I maybe just try and do a one-stopper on softs? Maybe. I don't know. But long story short, totally screwed my strategy up. Next time, I need to calculate the fuel use manually. Lesson learned for next week. With the second Arrows car making its pit stop there, I figure I should probably go ahead and make my pit stop ASAP, throw out the idea of doing a one-stopper on softs out the window, because, well, I think it's still a little bit too early to do a one-stop pit stop right now, which indicates to me I think that guy is on a two-stop strategy, in which case I should probably go ahead and get fresh tires now and not keep losing time out here, because worn tires are always going to be slow, and fresh tires are always going to be fast, so we want some fresh tires. So let's go ahead and kill these off with hopefully a good lap. Alright, we're getting ready to hit our pit box here. Got to make sure we keep the car to the left of the white line. Got to watch out for the nasty seam in the road, which will upset the car. So we downshift, get on the brakes, chuck it in a neutral for style points, get on the pit limiter, cruise down pit road, find our pit box, make sure we got all of our options set up, make sure we stop in the pit box because that'd be embarrassing, park it, sit here and wait for what feels like an eternity. Just sitting, waiting, and waiting. Because I probably added way too much fuel because I didn't get a chance to actually calculate things properly. Yeah, again, really screwed myself up. Don't crash on pit road. Keep the car on the road. Keep the car on the road. Colder tires. Oh, tire blankets for the win. Keep the car off the grass. Okay, there we go. Where did we come out? And at this point, thanks to the handy-dandy track map plugin that you can't see, about 5 seconds behind the two Arrows cars. That's them right up the road, which tells me precisely what I thought. I stayed out for way too long. So at this stage of the race, we've dropped back out of the points. We're down in 9th position, if I do recall correctly, which means that, yeah, things were looking good at the beginning and then not so much later on in the race here, but hey, we had to stick with it. Maybe we can end up salvaging some points if more cars still have to make their pit stops or there's, you know, damage between cars or something like that. So we got to keep plugging away. Got to try and catch this guy up, see if we can pass him, because again, positions are everything. We are using the 2000 F1 point system, which means points only down to 6th place. So while today we'd be just outside the points and maybe even looking at scoring a point or two, not so much here. And I want to score points. I'm here to score points, not to just go ahead and finish like top 10. Top 10 versus points, totally different ball game. The timing display is a filthy, rotten liar. As I'm coming around here and I see the times rapidly decreasing, I'm like, they're making another pit stop. Okay, that's good because we're on the same strategy. We just need to make sure we go really fast. And then I realize, oh wait, never mind. Yeah. You'll notice that happens throughout the race when I have this page up, so just disregard it and kind of use your own eyesight to determine if we're actually gaining or not. Yeah, totally a bummer though when you realize that that's not actually happening. slowly but steadily, what was a 3-second gap to the car in front of us has become a 5 or 6 second gap to the car in front of us. Yeah, so not looking good. That pass, though, not really much of an issue to me. He's on a one-stop strategy. I'm on a two-stop strategy. We saw him exit the pits. That's how we know he's on a one-stop strategy. So he's essentially 25, 30 seconds up the road anyway, so whatever. And as I had a feeling that is probably roughly around the time that we were supposed to make a pit stop, see how I don't have that display open, show me the number of laps. We start cycling through our pages here, and I'm really actually giving the one-stop strategy quite heavy thought at this point. I'm trying to figure out, do I actually have enough fuel? Because I think if we have enough fuel in the car pretty much by accident, not really planned, I think this strategy could actually maybe end up working, because obviously a couple of cars ahead of us still have to make a pit stop. We'd have no speed at all, but I think maybe we could keep the car on track and go fast enough that time difference probably would work in our favor. Maybe, I don't know. And at this point, I decide that I can't do the math in my head. I can't figure out how much fuel we're using. I ain't going to be able to do the math while trying to drive and maintain focus on that. So I'll just go ahead and make my pit stop, try and get the best possible pit stop we can, get on the pit road as good as we can, because we know we don't quite have the speed over the guy in the Arrows car that we were racing with, who was just creeping away over the course of laps. But maybe if we get a really good pit stop, you know, we can come out right on his tail, and then we can get that whole rabbit chasing thing going and catch the guy and hang with the guy and up my own pace and pass him, which is what we want. So we're going to make our pit stop at the end of this lap. So through the exchange of pit stops, we gained about a second and a half, just a little bit, not a whole lot, nothing that really alters the course of the race at this stage. But with our final pit stop out of the way, I'm now basically at the point where I'm saying, well, here's the final pit stop. We've gone as far as we can at this stage of the race. We just need to drive as fast as we possibly can. I'm no longer worrying about the brakes and trying to make sure that they last and I have brakes at the end of the race, because it is the end of the race. So let's go ahead and drive as fast as we possibly can and see what we got. as the race winds down, we're still going as fast as we possibly can, and in fact right here I set a new personal best to that point. We took a decent chunk out of the gap to the car in front of us, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe we can do this. Maybe there's still time. Just got to keep on it. Maybe he'll make a few more mistakes. Just got to keep going as fast as we can. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. So here in the closing laps of the race, we have certainly whittled the gap down to the car in front of us. Where it's still a long way back with way too few laps to go, but if there's a mistake or anything on his part, you know, that's going to bring us right back there and maybe open the door, so we got to just keep on going. Coming up here to take one lap to go, there's a car stopped. That's actually 4th position. Someone ran out of fuel in this race. So that bumps us up to 8th place. 7th place is right up the road there. So again, any sort of shenaniganery on the last lap happens, that's a points paying position. So again, we want to try and pass them if at all somehow possible. So obviously at this stage, last lap, we're obviously not going to catch this guy. And we're going to bring the car home in 8th place, which isn't going to pay us any points. Again, points only go down to 6th place, which we would have liked to have gotten some points, although with the quality of drivers that finished ahead of us, I can't necessarily be too disappointed in that because they are quite fast. And this is a car that I'm not really all that comfortable with. I'm still definitely learning and adapting to the way this car drives, which it's not my type of car, and that's why I'm racing here, as I mentioned previously. So, you know, it's just one of those races where I would have liked to have scored points. I think we could have scored some points, given the fact that we were up to 2nd place, you know, early on in the race, and we were doing a decent job of defending people, of driving the choo-choo train. But you know, I can't say I'm too displeased, honestly. And on the plus side, we did learn that we need to make sure that we calculate our fuel properly, do that manually, you know, just to double check regardless. That way we know what we need for the whole race, and if we need to change our strategy halfway through, we can end up doing that. Because I think a one-stopper on softs might have worked, given the fact that my fastest lap was on those tires. Yeah. But, there's that, as well as the fact that we survived the race with no major issues, no offs or anything like that, which is always nice and confidence building, especially when, again, you know, this isn't my thing. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying this isn't my thing. You know, I have to learn to adapt and you know, figure out how I drive this thing best for skill level, my driving style, and things like that. So, not the finish I would have wanted, but the result I would have wanted, if that makes any sense. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.